Alright, so Percy Jackson Season 2 has arrived on Disney Plus with the first 2 episodes, and we are back in this world from Rick Riordan and Walker Scobell back in the role as Percy Jackson along with Annabeth and Grover, and this is the adaptation of The Sea of Monsters involving the plot, finding the Golden Fleece, and I have to say, with this adaptation from the story material, how it matches the vibe and energy, I was really impressed for what they had to offer based for where we are heading for the rest of the season. So, this will be my full review and a breakdown of episodes 1 and 2 for what we need to know, and especially for where this could go towards by the end of the season, especially with our hero, Percy Jackson, as well. So, let's get into it. So, if you're new, then be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell so it's on any future vids. But now, let's just hop right into it. And now, I'm going to be starting off here that I was really impressed with the Percy Jackson series, especially for how they adapted the Lightning Thief in Season 1, but now here in Season 2, they are adapting Sea of Monsters, in which I thought, after watching the first 2 episodes, it kind of felt so much better than the movie version itself, because this is actually true storytelling told in like television format, and even for what Percy Jackson has to go through this time, and even for where we are left off, and truly by the end of the first season, and even for how we open up Season 2 is with the island of Polyphemus, and that's where we get the Sea of Monsters, and literally the first frame of Grover trying to hunt for something, and that is with Pan, or it's like an artifact, and like that's how like Grover is somehow stranded on the island and is now in trouble. And then once we see Grover that has found Pan, which it is revealed in the books to belong to the god of Hermes, which is the god of the wild, and we get introduced to what it looks to be Luke's rebellion with the character of Allison and her gang, in which they are on the hunt for that artifact, in which Grover finds out, but then they attempt to take him out, but especially with Luke for what his plan is, that he has taken over Olympus, that his plans are about to go even further. It was all just a dream, and now with Percy and Annabeth, they are alerted that Grover is in trouble, and with the way that they get the coordinates, like that they travel with the Grey Sisters, and even we hear the coordinates like many times, like throughout the first episode, 30, 31, 75, 12, the exact coordinates that lead to the Sea of Monsters, and I think that was also brought up in the movie too. It gets us, the audience, hooked after hearing that. Like, yeah, they're definitely going on that mission right away in the cab, and then we get introduced to Tyson, in which he only has one eye, but now for how we get to explain is that, especially from Percy's mother, that she took him in to basically become his brother, which is later then revealed at the camp, in which the whole camp and the others seem to see that he is not only the brother of Percy Jackson, but with also another son of Poseidon, and especially for how they know Grover is in trouble, it's because maybe like only Percy had that dream of seeing Grover at that island, but now that with Percy and Annabeth, now they are now aware that the camp is in trouble because of Thalia's tree, and so for the way that they tie in the plot of finding the Golden Fleece, and that's what I was really impressed on, especially from like the first 10 minutes of the first episode. I was instantly hooked because we already know that this is going to take us on such a great adventure, especially for a big role for Percy Jackson to handle, and especially with the dynamics between our characters with Percy and Annabeth. Is it going to take them even further to explore them a little bit more about themselves? I think they're going to turn into like more than for what they had in the first season, but I'm pretty sure we'll find out by just the end of it. But I think for the way that it plays out, like, but now adapting the right stuff from the books and now adapting it into here, and made the experience so much better. the books already know what this season is going to be based upon, the Sea of Monsters. And then with Percy, Annabeth, and Tyson, they arrive at camp, and then they are suddenly aware that Camp Half-Blood has now been taken over by new enforcement, also because of Olympus. And with Luke, yeah, and with Kronos, and with everything involved in it, for the way that we come to find out about Percy and Annabeth, and yeah, like Annabeth has not been in contact with Percy or sending him letters or just to see for how he is doing, because basically with Percy, Annabeth, and Grover is that they went their separate ways, and even though they cannot be contacted through like technology, Annabeth was keeping stuff from Percy that he did not want to know. And I think for what they dive deep into episode 2 is the exact same reason of why Percy is aware of the quest but cannot go on it, because there was something much more bigger than himself that cannot allow him to go on the quest, and that is to find the Golden Fleece. And also, with Camp Half-Blood, we are introduced to Thaila, who is like the new enforcement that sets down new laws and rules, especially for campers that cannot leave. Basically means no one gets in or out, and that, yeah, I mean, Camp Half-Blood has been attacked, but even with Thalia's tree that is not looking good, and that they need to like find the Golden Fleece in order to save the camp from destruction or any attack, because this is what Percy's role basically is just to be like the son of Poseidon and the god of the sea, and truly be the hero. And that's what got me really hooked on like the first episode, how like the chemistry is balanced, especially between Percy and Tyson. Like Tyson really wants to be like a brother figure to Percy, and I like Tyson a little bit just to remind Percy to go on the right path, just to accomplish this mission. But I just generally like for how this season is pulled up. And now with Percy and Annabeth, that they are aware that, yeah, the camp is in danger, and that if they don't accomplish this mission sometime soon, like any attack could happen. But with like the two of them, they need a quest to heal Thalia's tree, but like the only way that they can win is to win the chariot race, and that's how they pick a winner, and that winner gets to go on this quest. But then like how like Percy sees this from his point of view is that, yeah, like he's not backing down. He's not holding anything back. He really wants to go on this quest, and if he really wants to bring a Tyson with him, because with Percy, that he definitely has this experience, especially as like a demigod. Like he literally accomplished the mission of fighting the lightning bolt, but this is because of Olympus. For what Luke has done is that, yeah, the fact that he is the son of Kronos, but I assume for what they're going at here in terms of the Sea of Monsters plotline from the book, and I'm pretty sure like they'll explore more layers of that very much later on. And then for how we end episode 1 is with Annabeth looking at Thalia's tree, and that, yeah, it really needed the cover that it deserves. And then with Percy, that he says to her that he knows how to save camp. He has this idea to prevent the camp from any attack or any type of destruction, and that's the type of thing that I love about the character of Percy Jackson, that he does not back down. He knows how to be this heroic figure, especially within Camp Half-Blood, and even after the first episode, I am hooked. I mean, this season is off to a great start. And then we move into episode 2, in which this is the chariot race, in which whoever wins gets to go on the quest to go find the Golden Fleece that is within the Sea of Monsters. And even for what Annabeth is about to do to Percy, it's sort of like a way that I did not expect or did not see coming, and that is to portray Percy in like a way that's having like another camper just to defeat him, so that, yeah, that Clarice can win, and that I think for the way that they handled this story, and I think it is perfectly balanced. Just from the tone and sort of like the theme for how it really gets the story going for us as the book readers is to just like to feel a sense within the characters, and that with Percy, it is really handled brilliantly well for how he's able to react to the fact that Annabeth does not want him to go on the mission, because even with Annabeth, that she talks to Chiron, and that for what he tells her is that Percy cannot land into Cronus's trap, and that there is something much more on Olympus, much more like just bigger, that Annabeth is preventing Percy to go on, and that this is really about like seeing these two at like a different light. But I think for how Annabeth is handled as a character, it is handled so good for the way that it really balances like the characteristics for what she tells Percy, in that she does really not want to lose him, and that this is gonna put this quest and for him in much more danger that is lying like with Olympus, that Percy does not want to know. And I have a feeling like after the second episode, and this feels like, yeah, they are going to be exploring much more, and I think for how they're going to be adapting from the script to the screen, and I think we're in for a real treat for the rest of season 2. And with Percy and Grover that they meet again later in his dream, yeah, they really need to rescue Grover, and that this is why Grover is put in his own storyline, and that I think we're going to get more explored here. That's something that I really enjoyed like from the show. This is like a proper adaptation that we deserve out of the entire series. And also, just from the moment of Titalius picking Clarice to go on the quest, but then choosing Annabeth, and then choosing Chris Rodriguez instead of Percy to go with them on the quest, and especially like for what Annabeth told Clarice, or something very secret, but even that we learn later on that Tyson has good hearing abilities, and that he could basically hear that, yeah, I mean, Annabeth chose the act of betrayal. I mean, I'm not sure like if it is to completely protect Percy from any sort of danger that comes his way, but I can just pretty much assume that this is going to be more dangerous and more tough for Percy to handle himself. And I think Percy is going to be taken in for some real risks, and that's what a true heroic figure does, and especially for what Percy Jackson can do. Like he can take on risks. He's like the son of Poseidon. Like he can handle any mission, but especially with this being totally bigger for what he's about to step foot into. And for the way that episode 2 ends is we get the return of Hermes, that is Lin-Manuel Miranda's character, and basically for what he is telling Percy is he is definitely hiding something that Percy does not want to know. That he points out to him that that's the ship that will take him on his mission to find the Golden Fleece, to take him to the Sea of Monsters. But then for basically for how it is handled for Hermes to be related to Percy, and that this is like Olympus that is really at war because of Luke. And also, we get this very powerful moment between Percy and Annabeth that really gets me hooked for how this friendship is going to be handled throughout the rest of the season, and for how Percy is reacting to it for what Annabeth told him, and now they really want to go on the quest. But with Titalius, he really wants to put it into it. They cannot allow them to leave camp, and that they have broken like camp laws, and that like wow, it just goes in like a way that yeah, those three, Percy, Annabeth, and Tyson, really took the risk into leaving camp just to go on the quest, and now they cannot ever go back to camp. They cannot return, but especially with fighting the Golden Fleece and protect Italia's tree and the barrier cannot fail, and yeah, they have to save Camp Half-Blood. And I think for where this season is going, and I think this is going to be a real treat for us, the fans of the book, and I think these 2 episodes got me hooked for what's in store for the rest of the Percy Jackson series as well. So I think, yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see it for what the next episode holds in store. Yeah, and I'll be doing reviews and breakdowns for every single episode of Percy Jackson Season 2 weekly as they come out. But that's going to do it for this video. Just let me know in the comments down below, and what are your thoughts on Percy Jackson Season 2, the first 2 episodes, and give me a rating between 1 out of 10 in the comments down below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to know about future videos. Also follow all my social medias all linked down below. And with that, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.